Welcome to COAR Junin. It is an important institution here in Peru. Now let me introduce the English team. They are Gina Ruti Hermosa, Anyela Quispe Contreras, Raúl Rojas Paredes, and me, Carla Iguavilpando. Right now, I'm going to talk about the location. Coar Junin is located in the central part of the highlands of Peru in the district of Chongos Bajo, province of Chupaca, and department of Junin. Right now, my colleague Raul is going to continue with the presentation.
Thank you, Carlita. Yes, let's continue with this presentation. Our project for this presentation is promoting in our students the use of a set of strategies instead of using the translator when reading a text. So for this presentation, we have a question in this project. The question is, how might we persuade students to understand written text through applying a variety of strategies and reducing the use of a translator? Yeah, this is the question. And talking about the context, we have here that students of the Core Junin come from different places of the department of Junin, no? Which they have a rich culture, traditions, and customs. They have been studying in a virtual class for almost 2 years, so they did not have developed all the skills properly. For that reason, we consider as teachers it's very important to develop different types of strategies to empower our students in the process of learning. Now we are giving some reading strategies in order to improve this skill. Now we are going to see these strategies. But now the objectives. Let's talk about a little about the objective for this project, in which we have to develop strategies for the reading comprehension skills, which is the main objective. Then to apply strategies to have a better understanding of the text. Now we need to avoid students to use their translator. Now to have a responsible use of the digital translator, also which is important. Now in this part, let's check, as you can see, we have the demographics of the classroom. For this time, we have the level, which is A2, and the time class is 45 minutes, which is considered this in core. The age is between 14 and 15 years old, and the meeting class is 3 times a week. Now, this is all about this part, and let's continue with my colleague Gina.
Thank you, Raul. Well, I am going to talk about tip three. Okay. In this part, I am going to see you about how do we start our tip. First, we analyzed different problematic in reading comprehension. After that, we made a brainstorm on the Jamboard about our problematic. You can see that, okay? Also, we answer this question. What challenge did you see or anticipate that instead this tip? We observed that some students were not able to understand what they have read, so they just found the easiest solution to use the translator instead of trying to do with some other strategies. Nowadays, while they have everything on internet, students find easy to make and overuse translators. Then we pose our problem. How might we persuade the students to understand the written text through applying a variety of strategies and reducing the use of translator? It was our question. Now, I am going to see you some solutions about this big question, this problem, okay? In this part, you can see a screenshot. In this part, we have a brainstorming tool on the Jamboard. We put our possible solutions, okay? And what is it? The possible solutions are first, make use of a lot of pictures in order that the students can connect ideas. Start using the most basic vocabulary you know. Use a glossary of terms, associate heading and subheading to general ideas. Use questions to promote prediction. Identifying the main idea and make a summary. Preparing story maps. Then, setting main characters, problem, important events. And the other, on the end, is what I know, what I want to know, what I want to have learned. Okay? They are the possible solution. Additionally, we thought of tips to empower students' reading comprehension skill. In this tip, we designed some strategies that persuade students in order not to check at the translator as the first option when they don't understand a text and apply some pre-activities in order to improve understanding. We are presenting strategies like checking vocabulary, thorough picture, applying the addictive gloss, technique, analyzing handles. Well, in this moment, my colleague Angela continued to say something about the strategies.
Thank you, Ginita. Well, as she mentioned, we are going to continue with the strategies that we set for our problem. Let's remember that the main idea or the title of this tip was promoting in our students the use of a set of strategies instead of using the translator when reading a text. Let's keep in mind that the majority of students find easy to make use of that translator and it becomes a big problem. So the idea is to avoid the overuse of this kind of digital tools. Let's see. Set of strategies. We designed a set of activities in order to improve students' awareness in front of reading comprehension skills. That will give the students the skill to link ideas and understand the whole text by context and not by looking for each single word in the translator, which is a big problem, right? The set of strategies are presented as pre-reading activities. So we are presenting a set of strategies that are going to be used before reading, in which the student is going to have some tools when they have the text, so they are going to have more ideas about this text. So let's see the first strategy. Pictures card to check vocabulary. Why students use translator? Because the majority of the time they don't know some words. So they go to the dictionary or to a digital translator and they are looking for single words. So with this strategy, the idea is that they check some vocabulary before reading and it's the activity is called matching pairs. Let's see. What is this activity about? A set of pair of pictures are shown for some seconds, and after this time, students are shown the back of the pictures. So the idea is that they have the vocabulary of the text. The idea is that the students remember the place of each picture, and they have to select two cards and find the correct couple. This activity is considered also a game because students are also going to have a memory game because they have to remember the position of the picture and then and their names. Well, what are the benefits of this activity? With this activity, they can check new words, which is the intention. The vocabulary used in the activity is from the text they are about to read. So we have to select some vocabulary, maybe some new vocabulary, and we have to do this activity with this new vocabulary. When they finish the activity, they have a list of words, and with these words, they can make predictions about the text. Knowing words before reading helps students to understand better the text given. Practicing this strategy for some time helps students to increase their vocabulary. So after a period of time, maybe they are not going to need to check the dictionary because they are going to know the general idea by context, which is our main goal. Knowing more words help students to understand some words by context. Now, my colleague Carla is going to continue with the next strategy.
Thank you, Angela. Okay, right now I'm going to continue talking about dictogloss. In this case, it's very important to know what is dictogloss. It's a language teaching technique that is used to teach grammatical structure in which students form small groups and summarize a larger language text. But in this case, remember that we are going to focus on develop reading comprehension skills. Also, it's very important to identify the benefits of this activity. Here we have four benefits. The first one, they integrate the four language skills of listening, reading, speaking, and writing. Remember, we are going to use in order to reinforce reading comprehension. Two, they also give students opportunities to talk both about content and about the language itself. It's very important. Again, in this case, they are going to reinforce speaking. They are going to exchange information. Three, this activity is a useful way of presenting new factual information to students and encouraging them to listen to key points. In this case, in this kind of material, the teacher can use different type of resources, as for example, as newspaper. The teacher can use the text of any story. No, in this case. The number four, they give support to less confident students as they are encouraged to participate in their groups as part of the structure of the activity. In this case, we are talking about the student is going to feel happy because this activity also we can use as a game, no, during the class. Okay, right now I'm going to mention the procedure. First, the teacher reads a short text on a familiar topic at normal speed, not running or not slow. The second, the learners listen and take notes in a piece of paper. No, it's very important in this case to work this activity using a piece of paper. Three, the teacher repeats the reading twice. In this case, four, the learners form pairs and share their notes. Next, the teacher reads the text at a final time at normal speed. And finally, the learners compare the final written version of text. And what is the aim of this activity? The aim is to get as close to the original text as possible. Okay, in this case, right now, also is very important to have in consideration some aspects of dictogloss. First, listening is for the main idea. The teacher is going to say the paragraph in order to mention or in order to identify the main idea. Next, the second is for details, no? As you can see on the picture, on the paper, the student is going to try to understand the words, or he or she can write some keywords in order to complete the paragraph. Next, working with a partner or in a small group, no? In this case, in this kind of activity also, we are going to improve cooperative learning, no? And next to this image, we have an example of a paragraph. In this case, this is of an extract of the novel The Giver. But in this case, also depends of the level of the student. The teacher can use a text of the story, a newspaper, an article. Okay, so in this case, the teacher is going to prepare some kind of materials before of this reading activity. Okay, right now my partner is going to continue with the presentation.
Okay, thanks, Carlita. Well, now, in this time, I am going to talk about to the other strategy. This strategy is about my map. And what is a my map? It is a diagram, a graphic organizer that helps students visualize what they're reading and detect connections between individual pieces of information. And what are the benefits? In this part exist many benefits, but we're going to talk about three benefits, important benefits, okay? The first, a mind map can help students structure their thoughts no matter how complex an idea or big a topic. A mind map brings order into the chaos. Mind mapping provides a clear overview of a topic. It enables students to see the bigger picture, find connection, and detect heretics between individual pieces of information. Mind mapping engage memory by utilizing a number of mental triggers such as a colors, image, and two-dimensional structure. But in this time, we're going to see an example about or how to create a mind map. In this part, it's very important you consider many parts, but in this part, we're going to consider about general information. What is general information? Students use this section to collect information about the author, when he or she lived, what his her background was, and how all of this might influence to the book, a connection between the author's life and parts of the book can be visualized with drones. The setting of the story should be captured as well, depending of the book. It might make sense to provide an overview of all chapters and give the setting of each individual chapter. But the other we can consider about is characters. Using a mind map, students can visualize the relationship between individual characters. For example, in the novel The Giver, Lily is Jonah's sister to surface level. And in on literary level, Jonas is the protagonist, elders are the antagonists. In this part, you can identify the characters. About the plot, students can recognize plot points like initial situation, conflict, complication, climax, suspense, the denouement, and conclusion. And the other is about the new vocabulary. In the new vocabulary, the major obstacle in the reading comprehension is a new vocabulary. We know that, okay? To ensure that your students understand and retain all the new words, listen, instead of just skipping over them, tell them to add terms they don't understand to their mind map, either in a separate vocabulary branch or as a part of the topic, theme, chapter, and character branches the words are related to. And then, finally, if the students advance more with a literary analysis, create a branch for themes, motifs, and symbols, and add definition for each to remind your students what each term means. Okay. Well, in this moment, my colleagues is continuing with this exposition.
Okay, thank you, Miss Gina. Now, well, continuing with this presentation, well, after my colleagues have shared some strategies now for the students in order to avoid the use of translator, let's make a short recap now. What is this project about? The learners tend to use the bilingual dictionary now because they might find this to be the easiest source. However, vocabulary is considered very important since it is one of the key elements in secondary language acquisition, essential for all stages of English education. So in order to be successful in language learning, the strategies must be practiced and be part of them, no? Which means the students. Now, for promoting the responsible use of digital translator, we have some benefits that I will mention in this moment. The strategies have a very significant role in acquiring new words in order to be successful in language learning. No? Another benefit could be without asking others for help in figuring out the meaning of a word, promote an autonomous work. Also, the next is these strategies involve learners participating actively. No? What about the next? Communicating with native speakers to enhance their vocabulary acquisition. The next, increase their vocabulary knowledge for reading comprehension activities. And finally, skipping well-known vocabularies help learners understand the main idea in the text in a quick time. Now, these are some of the benefits. Now, let's continue and please continue with my colleague.
Thank you very much, teacher. We are going to continue. And let's remind that the idea of this tip is to make use of a set of strategies and to avoid the overuse of translator. We had already seen in strategies, the first strategy is to make use of picture. The second strategy was dictogloss. And next strategy was mind maps. And finally, we observed it and we listened that using translator or digital dictionaries or digital translator uh, it's not too bad, but the idea is to make it in a responsible way, right? If we receive a text and we don't know a words, the first thing we have to do is to check a translator? No. The idea is to make use of these other strategies in order to improve our complete knowledge in the language of English and improve our four skills, which are listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Because, of course, if we understand reading, it means that we have a lot of vocabulary that we can communicate correctly. In the same way, we have some listening skills and written skills too. So now we are going to show you how we work during all this time to have this tip done. We have done a Padlet in which we had all the ideas that we were showing to you. And here you are going to observe a screenshot of what was it about. We have the link here, and we are going to click, and we are going to see it. We are observing that here we have, for example, now in our core, we have this presentation. We have here some information about how we brainstorm our ideas to finally decide what is going to be the topic that we are going to discuss. Also, we brainstorm in some possible solutions for the aim that we were having. Additionally to it, we have some extra material about each strategies that we were presenting. For example, matching pairs, we have some web page. About mind maps, we have some interesting information. We have a video, we have a website that we have to pay attention, how to improve our reading comprehension through mind maps. And finally, we also have interesting information about dictogloss. So that is the way we had already done this tip. Now, let's continue. We are going to go to the final part, which is the bibliography, which is really important because we make use of some sources in order to finish or to complete this tip. We have here some web pages we were checking in order to complete this project. So that was it. It was a pleasure for Junin core team to present this tip, and we hope that the ideas, the strategies that we had already present maybe help to all of you. And if you want, you can make use of these strategies we had already presented, as I mentioned. You can also have access to the Padlet we created in order to check maybe the web pages, the video, or the information, the articles we have there. So thank you very much for all your attention.